Hello, hello. How's it going? I ended up, last time we talked, I finished up my guy. This guy. Right here. Who may or may not focus up. There we go. And I said I didn't know what I was going to do for the next one, but I did end up going with the batching option. So, what I'm going to do today is just show you, it'll be a boring video, but it's just going to be me batch painting these guys. I'm going to show you how I do it. So I don't know if everyone has their own way of doing this or not, but for me, when I get into batching, which is usually what I do for these kind of troop units, something like Terminators or the hearthkynn warriors, not the hearthkynn warriors, sorry, the Einherjar Hearthguard, when I get to them, I might do them all individually, but for these basic troops I do them all in batches. And the reason I do that is to preserve my sanity. But what I'll do is what I'm going to do right here, right now. I take one color. This is what I mean by batching, and I'm assuming everyone means the same thing. I take one color, and I'm going to paint that color on every model where it needs to go. So in this case here, I'm doing my lead belcher. And all I'm going to do for the foreseeable future is lead belcher. It gets a little boring. It's not the world's most exciting. But it helps because you get used to doing the same details. And it makes you just a little bit more competent with it when you've encountered the same thing a bunch of times consecutively. But you know, when I'm doing other things, I don't do it if I don't have to. If I don't have a ton of units, I don't batch them. Right, again, my Hearthguard, I have 5 of them, so I won't batch those. I'll do each of them individually. But you do what's up to you, because for some people this may take all the fun out of the hobby. And if you don't like painting, then you probably aren't watching this video. So you probably weren't batching them or painting them anyway. But yeah. See, I actually put in a ton of work on these guys the other day during parent-teacher interviews. I did all of the bronze while I was waiting for no parents to show up. My boss walked in and asked me what I was doing, and I said arts and crafts. And she laughed. So I was like, whew, okay, we're good. No. Now I'm doing the lead belcher effects. I did end up making a decision. I'm going to do that strip there in lead belcher as well, which I didn't do before. Yeah. So because I fully finished one guy, I can use him as my reference for what I am and am not belchering. Right? So like, did I do the buckle belcher? I did do the buckle belcher. So, get a little bit here. Now let's do this guy's buckle. Some things I'm going to tidy up at the end, like these little sockets here, because I still have the contrast paint as legs. So if I do those now, they're just going to get covered in contrast paint. So what's the point? And it's also important when you're doing this to kind of understand what goes where. So like I could do my brass scorpion next, because it's my other metallic, but I still have to paint this belt brown, and I got a lot bigger chance of getting brown on my brass scorpion than I do of getting brass scorpion on my brown. So I gotta do my browns first, which I'm not gonna show you because I have to remix that. That's gonna be a whole day of fun. A little bit of a touch up there needed, but that's alright. This is another minute where we'd like to pray to our gods for giving us lead belcher. As I always say, the greatest paint ever made. Nothing covers and goes on so nicely with lead belcher. What Citadel does to make it, I have no idea. I assume. Ooh, that's not good. That was a whoopsie daisy. The amazing properties of lead belcher betray me. Here we go. Remember, you can always fix it by slobbering. Yeah. Now, I was going to say, I assume there's some level of sacrificing orphans involved to make a paint like lead belcher, but yeah. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Oh, did I do his little? No, wait, no. Where's this guy? I didn't do his little badoobadops. Let's just get you guys down here a little bit more. He has them on the back too, doesn't he? Yeah. There we go. Alright, I did his badoobadops. He's good. Because now I gotta filter out who has been belchered and who hasn't. He's been belchered. He has not been belchered. Not been belchered. Been belchered. Not been belchered. Not been belchered. That one's been belchered. And that one's not been belchered. Perfect. Yeah. So yep, I finished that guy. I pick up my next guy. And just move on. This is the guy with the detachable arms. Ta-da. And that's it. This is my life now. So, to fill out the time while I draw on this guy's dick, been hard at work teaching. Been a bunch of frustrations that have come up recently, mostly around paperwork and nonsense. And stuff that no one cares about, but matters tremendously. But that's all the parts that suck. In wonderful news, my grade 9 class, who are the guys that are going to be doing Warhammer minis eventually, have moved on in their tech unit and are now making websites. And they're actually kind of good at it. They make me a little prouder every day. One day they might even be people. Not this day, but one day. They're quite the group. They've got a lot of moxie. Though they're still kids, and sometimes I forget that. And the day they were driving me nuts. Just childish stuff. I just had to look at them and be like, grow up. I was like, thank God. I thank God every day that I teach high school. Because for a very brief period of time I was filling in elementary. And you can tell a 14-year-old to grow up. You really can't tell a 5-year-old to grow up. It's like, oh my God, would you grow up? And then they're just sitting at you there looking at you with their 5-year-old eyes like, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You are still a child. The most childlike of children. Yeah, no, they're doing good. They went to a competition where they made cars. Or green energy little powered mini cars. None of them placed. But some of them did pretty good. A lot better than they thought. And they seem to have a lot of fun at it. Which is the main thing. I'm excited next year when I have them in 10. Yeah, they're probably the group I talk about the most to you guys. But they always ask if they're my favorite class, and I told them no. They're not. And that's because secretly my class from last year is my favorite. Because they were awful. My class from last year I was so worried about. I thought they'd had a ton of problems over the years as a group. They'd been a big headache for a lot of teachers. And they were an infamous, notorious group to deal with. And I didn't think having them every day was going to be very fun. But I got them. And throughout the year, my favorite thing sometimes about teaching kids in that age group, 10s to 9s, throughout the year they slowly started acting like people. And when I took them on trips, I never had to talk to them or admonish them or anything. They were always perfect. So, they really grew on me. And now the other teachers joke that they're my babies. I'm like, yeah, they kind of are. I will defend them. They are my little babies. I have a great deal of care for them. And my nines don't know that. They're like, we're your favorite class. And I'm like, no, you're not. You will be when this group leaves. You don't know that yet, though. But for the time being, you are just my second favorite class. Boom. Oh, yeah, let's rearm this guy. There we go. Another one bites the dust. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is it. This is batching. It sucks. It's not nearly as fun for me as the creation process and finding my pattern. That is where it's at. But, like I said, kind of a necessary thing. Like I said, though, you don't have to do it. It's not necessary as in, oh my god, this is the only way to do it. I'm just some idiot on the internet with a follower. Oh, sorry, 2 followers. Don't take my word. But, no, I do it this way. Just because it's a little easier. But also, it's a little more cost effective. Go through a little bit less paint doing it this way. Batching it in large groups. Right, I don't need to redo my paint every time. Right. I'm pretty well going to use all of this lead belcher that I put on the palette today. I'm not going to waste any. Right, whereas if I did these individually, I'd probably end up leaving a bunch of paint on the palette that was unused between now and when I get to my next model. But like I said, if this doesn't work for you, this doesn't inspire joy, don't do it. Do it another way. That's up to you, man. Ain't no one can tell you how to paint. Unless you're putting on one thick coat. Then someone should tell you. But other than that, ain't no one gonna tell you how to paint. Though I do joke, my buddy, he has a Tau army he's starting. And I use yellow on a lot of my minis because I got 1,000 Suns which have yellow. And I have these guys where I'm doing yellow as a secondary or tertiary color. Because it works well with the purple. But my buddy wants to do yellow for his Tau. And to be fair, he's found a fun way to do it. I don't know if it's going to be fun to do, but it seems interesting. Because yellow can be an awful color to work with. I'm sure you've heard other painters bitch about yellow. But he seems to have found an interesting way to get it done. But whenever he talks to me about it, I'm like, nah, I just wouldn't do yellow, man. I'd do My Little Pony first, not yellow. And he's like, oh, what qualifies you? And I'll every now and then I'll joke, like, I have 2 subscribers on YouTube. I have 2 subscribers, bro. I'm basically an expert. Yeah. You do what works for you. And that's it at the end of the day. Ooh, I should probably put you on the camera, hey? You do what works for you at the end of the day. That's the main thing. I think that a lot of learning this hobby is doing what everyone tells you to do at first. Well, I'm going to do it this way because Vince Venturella said this is how I do it. It's like, yeah, man, Vince Venturella is really good, and you should watch him and take his advice. But then as you start to get into it, he's not wrong. But you know what? This is your army, this is your hobby, this is your time. And you find another way that works a little better for you. And that's alright. In fact, that's better than alright. That's fantastic. Fantastic Four. Copyright. Yeah. Da-da-da, bam, bam. Oh yeah, this guy's a gun. I can't forget his gun. So yeah, the only part I think of the guns I'm doing metallic are the mags. So I'm just gonna belcher dump on his mag here. I'm too worried about getting underneath behind there. There we go. Just double check that you've got it all. It sucks when you have to go back to them. You didn't do it all. Let's separate these guys. This guy here is a lesson too. This is my captain, the Thane. He has a lot of problems. The biggest of which are his pants. I got a glare. We're messing with that. Oh yeah, there we go. The biggest problem he has is his pants. They're awful, and if you know the first episode I did these guys, he was part of my first big set of whoopsies. And I've ended up going in a very different direction from where I initially planned. Originally I wanted to do like a tan color, but I didn't go through. Now, I could fix them. It wouldn't be rocket surgery. But I'm not going to. Again, this is a basic troop unit. So, even though he is the leader, he's still just a basic troop. So does it really matter? No. Number two, maybe he's got different pants because he's the leader. But the main reason is, I don't think there's actually any harm. Unless it's egregiously awful. I'm just leaving your mistakes out. What's that? Just letting your mistakes be and learning from them, right? I fuck this guy up. I salvage it in the rest. And I can now look to this guy and be like, look, this is where I started, this is where I finished. Right? It's a living example of your improvement whenever you do that. And there's nothing wrong with having it. I always tell the kids, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like, you're always going to fuck up. Fucking up is normal. It is just admitting you fucked up and addressing your fuck up that you have to do. Right? This guy here, I'm going to do his axe and stuff, but I am going to do it after I contrast. Because I'm going to do the head of his axe and contrast, and then that's going to be belcher. I think that's going to be brass. Yeah, it's just admitting your fuck up. And then learning from your fuck up. That's all it is. It's okay to fuck up. It's just like that song, Everybody fucks up sometimes. It's a classic. So last time I was here, I started talking about Alien Earth, and I got distracted. Really? Big fan? I'm going to start using those. So Alien Earth, I watched all of it. Was a huge fan. It lost me at the end. I'm hoping that a second season salvages it. But I don't know if it will or won't. God damn it. Yeah. I don't know if a second season saves it or not. At least in my opinion. Some people might love it. But I have this idea that the xenomorph is supposed to be I don't want to say evil, but it's supposed to be a horror movie villain. It's supposed to be terrifying, unreasonable. A lot like an employer or a union representative. And now it's a pet. I don't like it. That being said, I also kind of didn't like the premise of Predator Badlands, where the Predator is now going to be the hero. But people say they seem to think it's really good, so I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't judge it fully, but yeah. I'm actually a big horror movie fan, big horror video game fan. I've been playing Alien Isolation since it came out. I'm almost halfway through the game, and I play it every year. And one day I will beat it. But I usually get too scared around the same point every time, and and then I have to give it up for a while. Here we are. Ta-da! Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Another one has lead belcher. Alright, just 2 left. Yeah. So what I would do next, I'm going to lead belcher all these guys. Then I would pick the next color that I need to do. For these guys here, that's going to be brown. And brown is going to be the next major color I add. And then I would do the exact same thing with the brown. Usually, unless there's, like I said, there's an order to it where something has to go over something else, because that just makes sense. Usually, what I do is I pick the most common color first, the most common detail color first, which is what I did here. That's the lead belcher. And then the next most, and then the next most, and so on. So every time you have to batch, the actual time you spend per model goes down every time, because you have less that you actually have to paint. Right? That makes batching a little bit more tolerable. It's like, this is the lead belcher section. It's the longest I will spend batching. It's the most common color outside of my main color. It's in the most places. Some of them are a little fiddly. The brass scorpion is not that far. The brown's only in a couple places. Yeah, I still have my contrast painting, but at the end of the day, that's contrast paint. That's kind of, that's oversimplifying, but kind of just globbing paint on and hoping for the best. I actually don't mind, this is going to sound weird, smearing a bit of paint here and there, depending on the color combinations. Like, I don't mind smearing a bit of this lead belcher onto the bronze, just because it almost kind of creates this worn effect, like the bronze has been scraped. So it makes it a little bit more lively, I find. There we go. We're just going to make our way through here. Give this guy a happy little pouch. Happy little pouch strap. Okay. That's one healthy little pouch strap. And then we're going to give this guy a happy little ammo magazine. Yeah. So he can spread the love of Votann. I chose to do my details before my contrast because I'm not as worried about spilling over. The contrast paint that has to go on left is black, so it should mostly hide anything. Any imperfections and any spillover, so it should be alright. And then, so I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the black with the color underneath. Whereas if I painted this first and then I had to touch up the black, it would be a little bit more obnoxious. So I'm saving the contrast until the end. I actually think as well, this is unrelated to any of this, there was a video a while back ago where I was testing the printing handle, or the painting handle I had 3D printed for my art class. And I think I'm actually going to switch over to it myself. The other day when I was in school doing these guys, I was using it. And I was a much bigger fan of the way it handled my hand and the way I could articulate and get points of contact without having to touch the model. A little bit of slobber. Yeah, I was a much bigger fan about how I could touch and hold the model without touching things. So I think I'm going to go back to that handle. I think I'm going to adopt it instead of my Citadel one. To be fair, there's nothing wrong with this one. It's just overpriced for how basic it is. That's all. And at the end of the day, it's just about what you prefer. I don't have the steadiest hand, so I like to have my points of contact. And I find with this one here, when I want to make the third point of contact, it's awkward. And I end up often having to make that contact with the model, which I don't always want to do. Whereas this other one has a couple juts on it. Juts, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for. A couple juts on it. And I like that a little more, just for me. Like everything, your mileage may vary. I'm actually in the middle right now 3D printing wet and dry palettes for that class. They're almost done, and my last one is on the printer tonight. I'll take it off tomorrow morning. Okay. I think I've got most of this guy's stuff. Have his pouches. Yep. Ooh, I'll get this little doohickey here. Don't know what it is, but it will now be shiny and metal. A little shiny never pull, never hurt anybody. That just means it's harder, and I think that's good. I think it's better when things are harder. Am I right? Oh, there we go. I knew I missed something. Okay. So we gotta get in there. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about here with 3 points of contact. Whereas I feel like on the ones I 3D print, I would have much better control at this moment. There we go. Alright. And then there was one. Just Timmy left. Oh my god. I'm rolling away. Now there's just Timmy. So this is Timmy. He's the most Space Marine Votann. I actually remember when I made him, he very much made me think of Space Marine 2 and choosing to fight with the combat knife. It's like, I know it's a game, I know things are balanced, all that good jazz, the combat knife makes sense. It's like, man, in a world where you can also equip a fucking psychic energy sword, why are you choosing the combat knife, man? When there is no trade-off. It's not like, oh, if you want to use X weapon, you have to use the combat knife. No. It's just a straight-up choice. Would you like a combat knife or a sword that shoots fucking lightning from the power of, well, effectively hell? Would you like a power sword or a knife? And I think that some person might actually choose the knife. That's just wild to me. Needs a couple touch-ups. Here and there. Alright. That's his booties. Speaking of his booties, let's get this knife blade down that I've been shitting on this whole time. This guy has a long pipe coming from his trousers. Alright. Getting there. Getting there, folks. That's a bit too much paint. There we go. Fix that. And we're almost done. It's a bit thick. You might have noticed I haven't switched brushes at all. And some of this would definitely be easier with a smaller brush. But what I would do, in my opinion, take it for what it's worth, take it with a grain of salt. If you need to, take it with a whole pinch of salt if you want. In my opinion, when you're doing batch painting, it's all about kind of getting through things as quick as you can. You will likely move quicker than I. I'm a slow painter. The quickest way to do it is to find the biggest brush that will still do your small details, but also do your bigger ones, right? Then you don't have to switch back and forth 100 times. Empty paint, load paint, unload paint. You can just go. I just realized this gun is part of this guy's wrist. Not like it's a wrist gun, like it just merged into his wrist. So he should probably see a doctor. I put that on a bit thick there. So I'm just gonna use my brush. Instead of getting new paint, I'm just gonna spread what I have around. Yeah, there we go. The detail's starting to come back. There we go. And that does it. The last one, lead belchered. Not much more to do, obviously, but I'm not going to make you guys watch all that. That's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watch the next one. All the regular YouTube begging. Please, like, subscribe, all that. And have a great day. I'll see you the next time. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Or I hope you just feel better about your own paintings when you look at my awful ones. Have a good one.